All right, sexy people, that's right. We got a legend in the house. And I'm just saying he may or may not have coached with the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. Guess who it is? Let's go.
Let's go. I can walk that walk, I can talk that talk. Lips still on gloss, get the toss like. Here we go, here we go. Who that? Oh no, bang bang. Run up.
This is going to be, I don't know, I have a feeling one of my favorite podcasts. We have a legend in the house. Ready for this, people? Sexy people. Yes, we have one of the most respected and influential coaches in the NFL, known for his fearless leadership style and his ability to bring out the best in quarterbacks, working with such quarterbacks and greats such as Tom Brady, Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, Carson Palmer, Ben Roethlisberger, three-time Super Bowl champion, including one as a head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, an author known for no risk it, no biscuit, and a true champion and supporter of diversity and women. Please help me welcome the quarterback whisperer himself, Bruce Arians. Woo!
Glad to be here.
Bruce, wow, look at you. And I'm so glad you are rocking the hat. Now, is that a Kango or what is that hat? I love it. It's something you're known for.
Yeah, this one actually is a Kango. Most of them are New Era
Uh-huh.
because when I was with the NFL, it had to be a New Era product, and they were gracious enough to make a bunch for me. You know, I always wore hats as a kid, and then once we started our foundation, the hat became real popular out in Arizona, so we started selling them for the foundation.
Well, I love that. I got to get me one. And what I wanted to tell you right when you came on was my grandpa, who was a huge fan of the NFL, literally rocked one of those hats every single day of his life. And so whenever I saw you on the sideline, I would think of my grandpa. And I know he would, and I'm so bummed because I couldn't find one of his hats. I was gonna mirror you and throw on my Kango, but instead I got my football sexy hat. Let's go. I love the swag. You've always had swag on the sideline. So, but we're gonna talk about it. But first, let's talk about how you got here. Can you tell me how you got here? Was it a text or a phone call from Nick Lowry, the Hall of Fame kicker of the Chiefs? He tagged you.
Nick asked me to do it. I said, heck yeah, I'd love to do it.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you, Nick. We got him. And we love to tag people here. And he had all these great things to say about you. Of course, I knew exactly who you were. But let's talk a little bit about you. And then we're going to get to all the things that happened this weekend with Wild Card Weekend. What a weekend. But first, you're from New Jersey. You were a quarterback yourself with Virginia Tech. Tell me a little bit about how you ended up playing the game yourself.
Yeah, as a kid, everybody I looked up to was named Coach. I didn't know it was somebody's dad giving up their time. My dad worked 7 days a week in the factory. Mom was working in a factory. So, I was always out in sports somewhere. And, grew up in Pennsylvania, mostly left New Jersey when I was young, grew up in Pennsylvania and, just play sports year round. And it was always just be home by time for dinner.
Man, and did you play any other sports besides football?
Yeah, I played year-round baseball, basketball. We didn't have a track team, but I did high jump one time, and but yeah, we played sports year-round.
Okay, all right. Well, just so you know, Bruce, I was a badass a quarterback. Just so you know, when I was playing flag football in 9th grade, maybe in the early 90s. I just wanted to let you know.
That's awesome.
And you're known as the quarterback whisperer. And I want to talk a little bit about that. What do you think made you so elite when it comes to teaching some of these greats? Was it that you played the position? Did you study? Like, how did you become such an amazing coach that you were, especially for the quarterbacks?
Yeah, having played the position all my life, and then calling plays and all those things that go with it. And the big thing about any position that you're coaching is trust. The person that you're coaching, you have to trust them that they're telling you the truth, and you got to make sure that you have a level of trust that they don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me the truth. Why did the ball come out of your hand and go there? So you have that relationship. So it's all about honesty, trust, and we can get better each and every day.
Right, right. And I believe you were known for saying a perfect QB has to have a lion's heart, not just talent. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, to me, leadership is the key. It's not arm strength, it's arm accuracy. But I mean, you have to be a leader of men, and you got to have a certain amount of grit about you. And grit to me is, you can handle the good times, you can handle the bad times. You're steady, and when you speak in that huddle, everybody listens.
Right. And out of some of the quarterbacks, which you've had legends, not that you're playing favorites, but like who out of the guys that you had with you that you would say had the most heart in that huddle?
Well, that's a hard one because they all have it. I mean, you have to have it to be as great as they all are. Most of those guys you mentioned will be Hall of Famers. Andrew cut his career a little bit short. It was a shame because he was such an amazing player, and then the injuries. Um, Carson's in the Ring of Honor in Arizona, and Ben will be a first ballot Hall of Famer too, I think.
Yeah.
Tom will be also, and so it's just a matter. They all have it. You just got to guide it in the right direction. You can't take any credit. Mom and dad and God gave them all that ability.
And I so agree with you. One of the things, as you know, I got to keep it real, Bruce. My dad was a diehard 49er fan. So, he had season tickets since 1978 at Candlestick. I feel like I grew up at Candlestick. So obviously I'm a faithful, but, we're always going to keep our eye on the NFC West, right? The division, all rivals and all the things. When you have your quarterbacks in those moments, I remember seeing a clip where you actually kind of let it out that Tom maybe didn't have his best performance in a press conference. And that was a big to-do. Can you tell me a little bit about that moment?
Yeah, I mean, people ask you a question, you tell them the truth. You can't sugarcoat it. And
Right?
they asked you about an interception and told them what I thought. And you know, Tom, you're criticizing Tom, and no, I'm just telling you what happened. And Tom didn't take it as criticism. We have a great relationship, and it was probably the first game. I think it was interception against New Orleans, and so it's like, yeah, it's just a building relationship. And but yeah, I'm always going to tell you the truth. You ask me a question, and you might not like the answer.
And that's what I like about you. Of course, I'm going to make sure I do a little bit of research, and all your interviews, I'm like, I like this guy. This is my kind of guy. Cause exactly that, you just tell it how it is. And I think some of these coaches in the NFL from a fan's point of view are not always that. I feel like they sugarcoat stuff. I feel like some of the players are running the coaches versus the other way around. Am I wrong on that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right in a lot of areas, and a lot of guys have to worry about the next job.
Yeah.
They got to watch what they say. I
Yeah.
was lucky and not lucky to get a head coach. Didn't get a job till I was 60, so I didn't really give a shit. And I was gonna do it my way. Finally got a job. I'm gonna do it my way, and the hell with everything else. And it worked out really good.
I love that. And one of the things that you did on top of just being a head coach is you called the plays. And I'm always curious to talk to head coaches that are actually calling the offensive plays. Tell me a little bit about that. And I think that was part of like you were not going to take the job if you didn't get to call the plays. Is that accurate as well?
Yes and no. In Arizona, I always called the plays, and until I trained Byron Leftwich, and then when I went to Tampa Bay, I didn't want to call him anymore. I wanted to be more of a just straight up head coach, and
Right.
Byron was ready, so I gave the job to Byron, and he did an unbelievable job the whole time we were in Tampa. I didn't. I had a small hand in the game plan, but very seldom ever called any plays.
Because I always am marveled by that because I just think being a head coach alone has got to be so stressful. I can't even imagine just dealing with personalities, let alone schemes and all the things. And now you are literally calling plays in the middle of the game. So I just find that to be amazing. And I don't know how many right now are the NFL, but we've got Kyle Shanahan, we've got other coaches doing the same thing. What would be your advice to a head coach that's going to also be calling the offensive plays?
Yeah, have somebody you really, really trust on the other side of the ball, and a really good clock management person that's talking to you also. I was very fortunate to have both of those. Even when I was a head coach in college, I had a veteran defensive coordinator. I do all the blitz calls. That was it.
Right.
And
I
so yeah, so I could just worry about what I was doing, and but you still have your hand on the game, and I see some of these guys turning their back and go sitting on the bench. That's hard for me. I've got to see what's going on the field, and I trust my assistants. The guys that were with me in Tampa Bay and in Arizona had been with me a long, long time,
Yeah.
and so it was a matter of just do your job.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, during the Cardinal era, I mean, you had Larry Fitzgerald. When you talk about trust on the other side, I mean, you had Larry Fitzgerald, and then you had, Patrick Peterson on the other side of the ball, and Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, these are guys that I can't imagine how amazing it was to coach and have trust in those type of players. I mean, I remember as a Niner fan going, "Oh my God, he was just unbelievable, unbelievable." Tell me a little bit about your time with the Cardinals, coaching guys like that.
Yeah, I think the thing that when I took the job, they had a pretty good defense, and I knew Todd Bowles would do a great job with that defense personnel. And we needed to find a quarterback, and Steve Keim did a great job of going out and getting Carson Palmer, and that kind of legitimized everything in our locker room. Hey, we got to, because they were pretty good, but they had missed. Kenny Wisdent's a good friend, and I took the job after him, and they missed on about 3 quarterbacks, and they had a really good football team after the Super Bowl. But Carson legitimized everything. Uh, we had some really key pieces in place. Drafting David Johnson was a big one. But Carson was the key. And then obviously Fitz, having me and him had a good come to Jesus meeting about where his career was heading at that time, and moved him into the slot. And he wasn't all for it at first, but it's like, okay, bro, if you move in here, I'm going to get you 100, 105 balls. He's like, okay, I'll move in.
He's like, I'm in. 105
and
balls.
you might have to block a little bit, but if you block, I'll make sure that you get design touchdown catches in the red zone.
I love, and isn't that what every wide receiver wants?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, you seem to be such a player's coach. If I was in the NFL, Bruce, you would be a coach that I would absolutely want. You're just one of those guys I can tell. I mean, like, I like this guy, even though you played on the opposite side. I was like, this guy, I could tell why the players play for you and give all of their heart and soul. I mean, one of the things that I think you were also known for is that you said, and I don't quote you, but your assistant coaches would be fired if they missed their child's ball game or recital. Is that is that something that you were really big on?
Yeah, I had worked for a coach that you weren't never allowed to leave the office. My son was playing junior high football at the time, just getting started. And you could go jog for a while. So I would act like I was jogging. I'd go watch him play, come back, throw water on my shirt, and act like I ran 5 miles, and went and watched him play, and still got all my work done. So I was like, if I ever get an opportunity, you never get that time back.
Yeah.
And when I was in the stands, I could see him light up, and he played, and he knew I was there. And we had a Saturday walkthrough. It was near the end of the season, and one of the guys' kids was in the championship, Pee Wee championship at Arizona State. And I said, "What are you doing here? Isn't your son playing?" He said, "Yeah, but we got walkthrough." I said, "The hell are you going to do a walkthrough on Saturday? Get your ass over there, man!" And he got there in time to see him score a touchdown and and win the championship. And you just don't get those moments back. The work's not going anywhere. Right. The work will always be there. You can get up early or stay late, but don't miss that time with your kids, because you never get that back.
I love that so much. And I'm sure the players that you had and the coaches really appreciated that, because you're right. Down the line, what really matters, right? Like, really what really matters. And it's our friends and family, and ball means the world to all of us. I mean, we're diehard fans, we're diehard coaches and players. But at the end of the day, I think when it's all said and done, it's, were we able to be there for our kids? Were we able to be there for our parents? So I think when I read that, I was just like, man, I love that. See, I'm falling in love with you all over again, Bruce.
There you go.
But now, I mean, we talked about the Cardinals, and I want to talk a little bit about Man, when you ended up in Tampa with the GOAT, Super Bowl, tell me about it. 2021 versus Mahomes. I mean, talk to me. How was that season leading up to the Super Bowl? Tell me any and all. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it was a crazy scenario because, I took the job because Jameis Winston. I really believe in Jameis. I had him in the football camp in the 10th grade in Birmingham, and knew the legend. Uh, so and he threw for 5,000 yards and 36 touchdowns that first year, but he had those 30 interceptions. And we thought we could fix some of that for sure because he was a talent. But the last two games, he threw a couple picks that were like, oh, got to look and just see what's behind door number two, and not thinking it was going to be Tom Brady, but it ended up being Tom Brady. So we made the switch, and then of course we signed Tom, and then COVID hits,
Yeah.
and we can't meet, we can't practice, we can't put in the offense. So Tom's got the guys over at Yankees Field, and they're throwing, and Blaine Gabbert's putting in the offense with him, and they'll communicate with me, and that's basically how we got started. Then we go to training camp with no preseason games, and that's the first time we start meeting and talking and practicing, and it took us a while. We were 7-5 and struggling, and it took a while for us to mesh because I got told, Tom, it's going to be easier for you to learn our offense than 21 guys learn yours, because I was in your offense and it's not that easy. And so yeah, he said, I'm all in. I'm all in. And he did more research on us than we did on him. And so the recruiting process was pretty easy. He wanted Florida, he wanted Tampa, he wanted to play with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and the guys that we had. And then we get to Atlanta, and we're down 17-0 at half, and we got to win the game. And say, okay, no more checkdowns, no more. We throw the damn ball deep. We got to score every time we get the ball, and we did the second half, and we're going to win 8 in a row, and Tom played lights out the whole way down the stretch, as did our defense. Todd Bowles did an unbelievable job with our defense, and we ran the ball really well. So it was just I think that when we played New Orleans, I thought the winner of that game was going to win it all, and they had beaten us really, really bad on Sunday Night Football, like 30-0, and earlier in the year, as did Kansas City. And we go down, we get a couple good turnovers and win that game. And that gave our guys a ton of confidence going up to Green Bay. We hit Scotty Miller right before the half for the touchdown with 8 seconds left at Green Bay. That kind of iced that game. Held on the second half, but and then we're playing the Super Bowl at home. And leading up to the Green Bay game, they're putting up all the banners at the stadium, Super Bowl. That's it, and everybody's driving in to work. I said, look, guys, if you're looking at those damn Super Bowl banners, we're gonna get our ass kicked up in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Right? We ain't playing in that stadium for a couple of weeks unless we win this game. So the guys were really super focused. Our ownership was unbelievable because of COVID. We built outdoor eating space, outdoor meeting space. I never did one Zoom call with the players. I saw them face to face every single day. So that was a huge advantage for us versus the northern teams who had to Zoom and couldn't meet.
That's right.
And so, yeah, our ownership really stepped up and provided us everything to beat the virus and get ready for the game.
Man, that was such a crazy time, and to have you guys, like you said, go through that adversity on top of everything else. By the way, speaking of, around that time, I had heard rumors that Tom wanted to come to the 49ers. Any truth to that? Did you ever, just between you and I, Bruce, did Tom Brady ever want to come to my Niners? Be honest. It's okay. I won't tell anybody.
Not that he spoke to me about.
Damn.
Now, he might have because of growing up out there and everything. But when we were talking, he was all in with us the whole time. So it was really cool.
I believe it. Well, I could tell you throughout the faithful rumors, heads were rolling when they thought that Tom wanted to maybe come to the Niners and was told, I won't say told no, but it didn't work out. And I know that the faithful fan base was furious if that was a rumor that was true. But ultimately, he ended up with you guys, and you guys were the first team to ever win a Super Bowl in front of your own fans at your home stadium. And I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of hoping that the Niners are the third team to do the same in Levi Stadium in just a few weeks. What are your thoughts on what's going on right now? Not just the Niners, the Eagles. I mean, we just went through 3 days of wild card games. I know that you watched probably every single one. I mean, where do we begin? Where do we begin, Bruce? What was your biggest surprise?
Yeah, I think the Niners, with all the linebackers, the job Robert Saleh did with that defense, just amazing.
Yep.
And he's always been a hell of a football coach. But when you're down to your fourth, fifth, and sixth linebackers, it's not fun. I mean, especially going up against the Eagles. But boy, they played their tails off. Kyle has always got one trick up his sleeve. The reverse pass was huge to get in the end zone and hold on to that lead. Because I think Jalen Hurts is one of the most improved passers in the league the last couple of years from the pocket. And when they got down there, I said, "Oh, I think the Eagles might pull this out." But boy, the defense just said no way and then shut him out those last 3 downs. And I was really happy for Kyle and Mike and Brant Boyer, who's one of my guys from way back and special teams coach. So yeah, I'm gonna give Robert Saleh a game ball tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you, I am on record saying that when the Niners beat the Eagles at the link, I believe that Kyle Shanahan just secured Coach of the Year, because I just don't know what other coach has dealt with the adversity. And then to come back, regardless of what happens from here on out, to come back with, like you said, I was like, wait, who is that? Like, I didn't even recognize some of my players. And then to have the defense, I mean, you can't write this story. I love a comeback, and to have Robert Saleh back, after what he went through with the Jets, and then to have all these players go down on top of Kittle. We lose Kittle, the heart and soul of our team. And then to put that drive together as a faithful, as an NFL fan, that was amazing. And I think Kyle deserves the Coach of the Year. I'm just saying.
He should definitely be in the conversation.
Right. Well, who would you say is close beside Ben?
Yeah, between Ben Johnson, Vrabel, and Liam Cohen.
Yeah, that's true.
The job they did in their first years at those places, and Vrabel winning last night and Ben winning big game against the Packers. Because Kyle's considered, hey, you guys got your program going, but he has done a hell of a job.
Absolutely. Being that you're the quarterback whisperer, I've always wondered this. What are your thoughts on quarterbacks 6'2" and under, the shorter quarterback versus a little bit of the taller quarterback? You've got your Josh Allens, you've got, the 6'3", 6'4", but then you have the shorter quarterbacks, the Brock Purdy, 6'1", Kyler Murray. Like, as a quarterback coach, do you think that height matters that much? I want to say, does height matter?
Yes. Vision matters.
Right.
It's not necessarily your height, it's your vision. When I looked at Baker Mayfield coming out, his line was 6'6", 6'7", and he didn't have any problem. I think Kyler at times has problems from the pocket.
Yep.
And that causes a ball. Every now and then, Brock looks like he has to wait just a tenth of a second to see something, and then the ball's late. And if you don't have a super powerful arm, it's a problem.
Yep.
So, yeah, I've always been big on measurables when evaluating quarterbacks and who they compare to. I don't like comparing them, but I like comparing the measurables. When I look at Andrew Luck when he came out, his athletic numbers were the same as Cam Newton's at the combine. So he's like, okay, this guy's a hell of an athlete, and he's big, strong, and can really throw it, and he's smart as hell. So I think he's a can't-miss guy. I also like Robert Griffin III in that same draft. I thought he had a lot of good things going about him. And then, of course, he got broken up, and Andrew did too, but it took a little bit longer. But, yeah, I mean, I do. I think the Drake Mays and those guys have a little bit of an advantage, Justin Herbert's, of standing in the pocket and seeing better.
Right. Well, I've actually been on record saying If I was a GM, Brock Purdy would be the last quarterback that I would tell my scouts and whoever else, do not bring me a quarterback that is under 6'1". I don't care how great he is. I don't want to see it, because I agree with you. And as I don't want to see another batted ball in my lifetime, honestly. And it just seems to make sense. You, like you said, you've got 6'7", 6'6". It just would make sense that 6'5" is a nice height for a quarterback, and in the NFL, So I'm glad that I heard it from the whisperer himself, that height matters.
Yeah, athleticism helps.
Yeah.
But accuracy, height, and grit, they're the key, they're key things.
And with those three things, now that we're down to what, 8? Let me see, how many quarterbacks are we down to? We got one more game tonight. How do you feel about tonight's game? We've got the Texans, CJ Stroud, and we've got the vet. Is this going to be Aaron Rodgers' last game ever?
I don't know if it's going to be ever, but I think the Houston defense could dominate this game with their speed and they do a great job of stopping the run, and then getting after Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's their pedigree, and they got the corners to stay with Metcalf. I think it's a good matchup for the Texans. Now, CJ Stroud, he's got to be able to handle that Pittsburgh blitz and that crowd. And but Nico Collins, they have enough speed, and they've got to be able to run the football though, and do a better job of running the football than they have been.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got, by the time this airs, we'll know who won. But if I can get a prediction right now at this time, based off of what you saw, we've got the Seahawks, the Niners, the Bills, all the teams. Who do you think is honestly going to take it this year?
I think in the NFC, it's going to be very, very hard to beat Seattle up there with the 12. And Sam's playing. He doesn't have a Superman cape on anymore. He's just playing quarterback. And with that defense, all you got to do is play quarterback. They got that running game going, and I thought that was very, very key against the Niners. They had to go in there and run the ball. They could not rely on Sam Darnold and JSN the whole time. And that's a great connection with JSN. So it's like I don't see anybody. It's going to be a hard job go up there and win in the playoffs, as loud as it's going to be. In the AFC, I think it's anybody's. I think Buffalo is a veteran team. Going down to Jacksonville, to me, that was going to be their toughest one. Now we'll see where they go from here. But I think Josh Allen's not going to be shook up by any crowd noise or anything else. He'll be fine. And there's some great matchups next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's wild are some of the quarterbacks that are not in the playoffs right now. I mean, Mahomes is sitting on the couch. Burrow is sitting on the couch. Were you shocked by those teams not making it into even a wild card?
Yeah, I think when you think of Kansas City and the dominance they've had, they did have some injuries, but not crazy injuries. They just didn't win the one-score games they've won for the last 6 years. And sometimes that flips on you. Joe Burrow obviously was out for a while, but Joe Flacco played good, and then they came back, and they scored 38 points a game, and they can't win. So they have no defense. I thought Lamar Jackson and Baltimore had pulled the game out against Pittsburgh and then didn't get it. You got some of the top guys that are just sitting there watching, and but I think the young guys, it's their time. The Trevor Lawrence's, he had a great up to that last. It's just a batted ball, but all the young quarterbacks now that are out there, Drake May, and looked great last night, and Bo Nix is his time next week, and see how it goes.
And I think that Josh Allen, I put on Instagram. I don't know if you follow us yet, Bruce, but I always like to put some music with a lot of my posts with the football. And I posted something about Josh Allen. And I was like, if not this season, you've got Patrick out of the way. You got Burrow out of the way. I feel like he's got to take it. The entire team has to take advantage of it now. Poor Buffalo.
Yeah, and I think this might be the least talented team he's taken into the playoff in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I think Brandon Cooks has made a big difference for them all of a sudden, giving them a deep threat. I hate to see Davis get hurt. But their lack of receiver play, big time receiver play, scares me in the big games. But Josh is going to put that cape on, man, and he's going to get it in the end zone somehow, some way.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for this weekend. It's going to be crazy. But I can't even let you out of here without asking you about where your support. First of all, thank you, because you have been a true supporter of women, and it's a known fact that you have hired women coaches. Where did that come from?
Yeah, I was asked by a reporter one time, did I think women could coach the NFL? I said, of course. I've already seen it. Dot Murphy used Dot Murphy. Dot was the receiver coach. Her husband was the head coach at Hines Junior College down in Jackson, Mississippi. And I used to recruit down there, and Dot was coaching receivers, and she was tough as nails. And as long as you can teach, and a player looks at you and says, how are you going to make me better? And you can tell them how, they're going to listen. So they don't really care what you look like at all, and just help me get better. And so it's like somebody saw the quote. A guy called me from the Arena League who was coaching with Jennifer Welter at the time, and he said, "Are you serious about it?" I said, "Yeah. Tell her to come see me." And I loved her enthusiasm. She obviously had tremendous credentials, having played against men and played in the Arena League and coached arena ball. So we broke the ice and brought her in as an intern. Then when I took the Tampa job, Darcy Kestowicz Glazer is a very, very strong proponent of everything women. And she's fantastic. So I said, look, I'd like to hire 2 interns. And she said, oh, that'd be great. And my wife goes, oh yeah, 2 more interns. Then you're going to throw them away at the end of the year. Why don't you just hire them full time?
Oh, I like your wife. Let's go.
I said, you're right. So I said, Darcy, she said, yeah, let's do it. So we hired Lori Locust and Maral Japatafar to our staff, and did a great job. Great job.
Well, I love that. And I think that is absolutely something that should be celebrated. And I hope more head coaches like yourself give women a chance, because I'm telling you, women love their football and women know their football. And there's women out there right now playing tackle football. Let's really take a look at that. And I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you just said, I don't think that let me ask you, did you ever get any pushback from male, obviously they're all male, but players that maybe didn't want a female coach?
Not at all. Not at all, because the ones we had all knew their stuff. And like I said, as soon as Lori jumped on the Domp Gasu's ass by hustling one day, I said, okay, I like you. And so it's like, yeah, if we're just glorified teachers.
Yeah.
If you can know all the football in the world, if you can't teach it, what good is it? So to me, it's some of the best teachers I've had were women. So it's just a different subject. The test is given in front of millions of people instead of sitting in a classroom, but it's still about teaching and getting a point across.
Say it for the people in the back. I love that. I'm gonna quote that. I forgot what you just said, but the women, say that again. Do you remember what you just said?
The best teachers I ever had were women. Yeah.
There you go. We will play that a couple times on loop. Thank you for that. Before I let you go, there's a few segments that we like to do here. One is What the Helly. And what the helly, Nick Sirianni and A.J. Brown, what is happening on that sideline?
Oh, I just love, that's happened so many times, I don't know if he's asking him to get off the field or hurry up, and they just hollering at each other, and heat of the moment stuff happens all the time on the sidelines. And next thing you know, they're hugging. So, I don't ever put any stock on that stuff, on blow-ups on the sideline. I had a few myself, and it's like I always tell the guys, look, if your football not perfect, I'm going to coach it. It's not criticism. Now, it's going to come real ugly sometimes, all right? But don't take it personal, because I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about your football. Your football sucks. You're a hell of a guy,
Right.
all right? But your football sucks right now.
Right. I love that. What were some of give me one that you had on the sidelines with a player? Was there one in particular? Well, hey, Antonio Brown, let's talk about that. What the hell? I'm watching that game live and I'm like, where's he going? He's shirtless now and he's out. Would that be the biggest moment, like, as a coach?
Yeah, for sure. Didn't want to get back in the game. And, so yeah, I lost my temper and he lost his, and that was it.
Well, I'm with you. I'd have been like, well, get the F on then, Did you say it like that or no?
Very close.
Okay, I like it. All right, my other segment for you, flex or next. And I'm going to say at the end of the game, Ben Johnson, I can't even say he shook Matt's hand. What do you think happened there between that handshake that is now all over the internet? Is that
Yeah,
a
I don't
flex?
know.
Is that a
I
flex
didn't
or a
like it.
next for Ben?
I didn't like it at all. I mean, sportsmanship is a fading thing in our business, and I hate to see it for kids. I want kids to shake hands afterwards, and so it's like whatever animosity you might have had from Detroit to Green Bay and all that, you put that shit on the table.
Yeah.
All right, and there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. I think that was a wrong one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like Ben. I like Ben. I think he's a hell of a coach, but no, sportsmanship is top priority.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say before that moment, he was already getting a little bit of flack for the press conference. I like beating Matt. I mean, he's been very vocal about his disdain, which, like you said, I think behind closed doors is one thing, but to be in the front of the camera, you've got kids watching you, I've been seeing a lot because we have a social media page, and a lot of people on our page were not happy about that and thought it was could have been better. Sportsmanship, like you said, is very important to a lot of these fans as well. They didn't like it. Some did, but yeah. So you're gonna say that was a next, not a flex.
Yeah, all the way.
Okay, all the way. And speaking of next, we always ask our guests. This is how you got here, Bruce, is I asked the same question to Nick Lowry, the Chiefs Hall of Fame kicker, and he said your name, and now I got to pass it on. Who got next? Who do you think would jump on here, talk a little bit of life and a little bit of ball with Monica and football is sexy? Who got next?
I would go with Big Ben.
Yes, Big Ben.
Yeah. He's got a really good podcast. You guys would be great together.
Let's go, Ben. Steelers. I love it. I'm so excited. Okay. You heard it right here. Ben, you just got tagged by the great Bruce Arians. Bruce, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for following Football is Sexy. We will definitely be, rocking your Kango throughout the, I think I got to get a Football is Sexy Kango to you. I think that's got to happen. Let's do that.
That's gotta be one.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And as always, keep it
real
and sexy.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Let's go. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Woo.